yeah. Well, hello guys. Welcome to my podcast. I know that you are used to listen this podcast in Spanish, but this time I have to, what can I say, import my guest. And yeah, Captain Robert Mcguire. Welcome to the Soviet Socialist Republic of my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
He's not kidding.
So I will make the usually the joke I say that say whatever you want about the podcast. I don't care about the name. I don't even look at the name in English. So I'm sorry for the accent, but what can I say?
We do whatever the fuck we want to do.
That's it.
I have what I have to do. It's not my native language.
Exactly.
Freedom of speech.
So Captain Mcguire.
Yes.
So you're a captain from the
In a Union County Police Department in New Jersey. Now, county police department in New Jersey, there's 21 counties. The county I worked in is not Essex County, which is Newark, but it's near Newark, sort of, if people can relate to that.
gotcha. So you're an army man too.
I was also in the reserves all those years, and I got mobilized for Iraq in 2003. You know, I was what they call in America a weekend warrior. Weekends, 2 weeks a year, but you're always obligated to go to war if they call you, and they called me.
So Mcguire, that's an Irish name, right?
That's an Irish name. Yeah, that's a typical Irish name.
Totally. Williams,
That's
Brian or Sullivan or
That's right.
Brian.
O'Brien, O'Reilly.
O'Hara, O'Connor. You know, my cousins are O'Connors, O'Haras. You know,
So you have Irish,
German also. My mother.
German also.
Yes,
Boy, so you are a
mixed.
heavy drinker, right?
You can say that. I can hold my own.
Yeah, it goes in your bloodline.
That's right. The Irish especially.
So you remember this story when I talking with my stepbrother?
Yeah.
That my stepdad was trying to get a man drunk.
Yeah.
Was this guy?
It was funny because Julio, what he did is he was sitting there having a couple of drinks, and he goes, "Bob, he's trying to get you drunk." And I said, "Game on, let's go." You know?
Totally.
He say, "I'm Irish."
I'm Irish.
You're not gonna win.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we Dominicans, we drink to have fun. You guys drink to die.
No, they drink as culture.
Yeah, it's part of our heritage. It's our culture.
So when you get in the corps,
Say again? When I get,
so when you get in the corps, in the force, I say,
well, what happened was when I got hired.
yeah,
When I started in the police in 1982,
1982.
Yeah. And again, like I say, the police department was called the Union County Police Department. It is a Union County Police Department. And what happened was I was a patrolman, detective. I made sergeant, patrol sergeant, then detective sergeant, lieutenant, then detective lieutenant, and finally, before I left, was captain. I was a captain.
So how you divide the task in the ranks?
Yes, in other words, in America, basically, every rank, patrolman is when you first get hired. You're a patrolman. You take a competitive test to make sergeant. A detective bureau you're appointed to. So I was appointed to the detective bureau because I had solved some good crimes, and they look at you that way. That's appointed by the chief of police. The highest you can go in the police department is the chief.
So someone can spend his whole life being a patrol?
Yes, if he chooses to, he can just. Some people are not ambitious. I always
Not only that, if you're bad enough, like
Yeah.
you're not good at it.
No, the problem with police work is how do they gauge productivity? You know.
Yeah, that's true.
And especially now, the way the culture is, if you're too proactive, they don't want cops. They just recently had defund the police in my area,
Oh boy.
that kind of stuff.
How is that going?
Well, what happens that faded away. We always say, if you got a problem, who are you gonna call?
Yeah, totally.
That's the problem. Sometimes,
You know, a funny thing, I don't mean funny, like I'm laughing at it, but it's ironic. So a shooting started in a subway station over there in New York City. And you could see the same people that were actually rioting for the defund the police thing were calling for the NYPD that day.
That's
Where's
right.
the NYPD?
That's right.
And that's ironic as fuck, and I love it.
It's ironic, isn't it? I mean,
if you play the card defund the police, but don't let me on guns, So we are doing nothing.
No, if you play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid prizes.
That's what happens. That's exactly true. You know, that's what happens. I mean, I always said that the fear I had is that if you're a new patrolman getting hired, if you sit in your car do nothing, you're okay. You won't be criticized. But if you're proactive, and again,
Then you're troublesome.
that's right, you cause problems. And again, with in America, with traditionally, believe it or not, the Irish, like especially in New York City, the cops were always firemen and police officers.
That is true.
Because you know why? They got off the boat, they spoke the language, they were big, they fought. But now it's changing. But back in the day, you know, it was all Irish, predominantly Irish. And even on the Eastern Seaboard, Boston, even my police department. Now it's changing, believe it or not, a lot more Latinos now. The last 12 officers we hired, great guys, you know, Vargas, Calantes, you know, Vega, we just, Rios.
Oh, Rios.
Yeah. Not the one I told you, the sergeant.
No, but you have to tell the story about Rios.
Yeah.
What happened with Rios?
Rios, which one? I mean, the guy that...
Yeah, the guy.
The accent guy.
The guy with the accent.
He did well. We were different units, so he went to a different part of Iraq. But he did. Last I heard, he did fine. He's fluent. Reading and writing, he's fine. But that accent killed me when I first met him. You know, it really made me laugh.
So Rios, he wasn't an immigrant.
No, he was born in Jersey City.
That's crazy.
It was, and he left. He goes, yeah, I know I got a bad accent. I go, Rios, I really thought you came over here when you were younger. But that's funny.
That happens also with some Dominicans from the Bronx.
Yeah.
They're not immigrants, but
They've never set foot on Dominican soil, but they talk Dominican.
That's just from the
they
family, yeah.
speak like their family. So
Right. Like you said, they didn't broaden their horizons. They should have, like you say. But that happens with everybody.
So
And if you were a cop in the 80s in New Jersey, you were like in this Sopranos, like
Area,
like
yeah,
setting
yeah,
area.
yeah. I mean, organized crime in New Jersey. I dealt with it myself. Most of them, if they provided services, prostitution, loan sharking, gambling. Well, they got smart. The government finally, now you can gamble anywhere in America. Before
Yeah,
it was
totally.
It was Atlantic City and and Vegas. Now it's
They had sports books.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's what they
Legal.
controlled. That's what they did. That's what their bread and butter was.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, they're fading away sort of now. They weren't as powerful as they were back in the 80s and 90s, because we went after them enough, which is good.
And you made their stuff legal, so like
Exactly.
you're taking
Marijuana-
power from them.
That's right. And now marijuana became legalized in New Jersey.
Yeah.
It'll be not the whole country yet, but it's going to get eventually,
yeah.
New Jersey's kind of a curious state, but because it's really Democrat, but at the same time is really Republican because of all the conservative people that live over there.
Predominantly, though, it's Jersey always goes usually Democrat, blue.
Yeah.
But you're right. They're in quieter areas like, we live now, California. It's more Republican, but all the major cities are Democrat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of time in California. California was good, but it was also hard to get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to take the Raritan Valley Lane in the New Jersey
Transit.
the New Jersey Transit.
That was a pain. That was a pain in the butt.
Raritan Valley Lane is like a pill. It's like a headache. It's like a painkiller. It's like one every 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I miss a train that day,
You're there for 8
I'm
hours.
done.
You are done.
I'm done because I'm stuck
Yeah.
in Jersey.
You might as well get a job.
Yeah. The same as getting stuck in New York.
Yeah, same thing. I don't know how people commute. Like I'm never gonna get that lifestyle. Like you live in New Jersey and you gotta commute every day. But like right now the New Jersey Transit is like it's better.
Yeah.
It's pretty decent.
It's
It's,
pretty
not bad.
decent now.
it's
Once
pretty
you're used
decent.
to
I like it.
Once you're used to it, but like commuting every day and
Yeah, that's-
you miss a train, then you're stuck for
That's
like
right.
an hour and stuff.
For me, it's more organized than the New York Transit.
Say again.
Yeah, totally.
For me, yeah. For me, the New York Transit is way.
The thing is that the New Jersey Transit is predominantly commuter transit because most of the people work in the city.
And they don't want to drive
Gotcha.
in.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why. Yep.
So, you always wanted to be a detective. So from the very beginning.
I wanted to be a detective. That was my main focus for my career, and I always strive for that. And I made, like I say, as a patrolman, if you make a lot of arrests and solve some cases for detectives, they look at you and they normally put you in there for 6 months. I was there for 6 months probation, still a patrolman, but I worked up to where they finally gave me the gold shield, which is the the gold shield for detective.
So being detectives like the movie stuff, like you have a wear a tie,
Well, it's
big,
funny.
the big long jacket, khaki.
Back when when I first became a detective, you had to wear a suit and a tie or a sports jacket. But then now it's changing. It's a lot more. What finally happened was like, okay, Friday's dress down, but and initially you had to wear a suit and a tie every day when you're a detective. When you presented the Department of Investigation, they wanted that profession. They kind of copied from the FBI, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how about the interrogations?
Well, I was assigned internal affairs for over 20 years. I investigated police officers, and that was my job for most of my career. When I first became a detective, but then when I made detective sergeant, they put me in there because I was honest. I'll give you one instance one time where I was a new patrolman, and I'm transporting a prisoner from we have a county jail. So we had single patrols too. I'm in the car with two corrections officers. They had shackled a guy. They handcuffed him. When they transport him, they had that belt like this. You're handcuffed here. Your feet are here. In those days, we had like wire screens back in the early 80s. So what happens is I'm driving to the hospital. It was only a period of like 5 miles away from the jail, and the two corrections officers grabbed this inmate's head. They started banging it into the cage, and what happened was, because he was accused of a child molester, so he wasn't convicted. So they're banging his head, and I'm saying, "What are you doing? Stop!" And next thing I know, they hit his eye on one of the bolts, and his eye fluid came out.
Oh my
It
God.
shoots over my shoulder. I hit the brakes. I'm saying, "What are you doing to this guy?" And what happened was, they're going, "Oh, he's a scumbag. He's a child molester." Now we go to the emergency room. The first thing they do, the guy has a serious injury now. They call the prosecutor's office because the inmate was, what happened to him? He was coming for he was going to the hospital for he had a medical procedure, not related to that. Now they caused more injury. So what happened was they asked me what happened. I go, well, the two corrections officers in the back, they lost it. Now, you ever heard the word the blue wall of silence? You know what that means, right?
Yeah, wall of silence.
You know-
Whatever a policeman does, you
don't
shut the
you
fuck
shut
up.
the fuck up. And I told the truth. I says, so that I was hated initially by, why'd you say that? I go, that poor bastard almost lost his eye, And I followed this guy. He was actually innocent, so he suffered for no reason. But when I did that, the president put Mcguire in internal affairs because I was honest about things like that. So I mean, that was way back in I gotta say the late '80s, before cameras. Now, it's funny. A friend of your aunt Lulu is a lieutenant here in the Capitol. He was at our house for a party, and I said to him, "Do you have any cameras?" Cameras. I go, "We have a body camera here. We have a camera in the vehicle this way. We have a prison compartment camera. That's how it is now." He goes, "We don't do cameras. We don't. So we just take care of business." I go, "I appreciate
Yeah,
that."
they
but,
do.
Right?
They do.
But we have cameras everywhere, which is a good thing.
They give you a knuckle sandwich.
That's right. Or if they have a nightstick, a wooden shampoo.
Yeah.
Oh
totally.
boy.
Totally.
But those days, I didn't like it either. So I was considered like I wouldn't honor the blue wall of silence. So I wasn't liked initially. And when you do internal affairs, you lose a lot of friends because
Yeah, you have to.
that's what happens.
Snitch.
You have to tell, and I
Not only snitch, but like
do the right thing.
you gotta be accountable.
That's it. You're accountable. And what you do is, I was even when there's no saying detective. I'm not going to ask you a question. I have the answer to. So when I brought my guys in, first of all, they're entitled to rights. If it's criminal, they can have a lawyer. If it's administrative, like they screwed up something, like a minor thing, like if a guy's driving a patrol car and he damages it during patrol, he don't report it. So the next shift goes, "What happened?" And some guys lied. They're stupid. I bring him in and I go, "Look, this is very simple. I know you damaged the car." I go, "You're gonna lie about this? Just say it'd be less punishment if you just come out and say I hit something." But that's where some men are stupid sometimes.
Yeah, and it's not only that, but it's like you gotta be accountable to yourself. Like,
I always was, the same way, and I didn't like that. But that's why I made rank 2. Like I say, in the normal police department in New Jersey, you're a patrolman, a sergeant, lieutenant, captain. The bigger departments have deputy chiefs, but most departments have a chief. That's the highest you can go. And there's areas, like you say, you can go towards patrol, stay in patrol. You can go to a traffic unit, which we were talking about on the way here, or which I preferred internal. I didn't prefer internal affairs, but I started in the detective bureau because they want you to have a clean record and they want you to have investigative experience if you're going to be internal affairs.
Boy.
Yeah.
Also, you're a veteran too.
What happened was I became a police officer in 1982. In 1977, I volunteered at that time for the military. So I did my active duty, and got out and I stayed in the reserves. I was in the reserves, and again, all I was performing was 1 week in a month, 2 weeks for training, and that's your commitment. So
hold on. So you got enlisted
I was enlisted
right after
high school.
Vietnam?
No, I missed Vietnam. I missed
missed
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
I missed Vietnam. So when I volunteered in '77, we were out of Vietnam by '75. So I missed that completely. Yeah, it was good. But so I stayed in the reserves, the '80s, the '90s, and it was quiet. Nothing was going on. The Cold War was falling apart. In '91, the Berlin Wall came down. Remember? And so everything was until 9/11 when they activated me because I was we didn't have we needed more soldiers all over the world. So reserves were called in. I was called in. It was 2000 October of 2003 when I got mobilized for Iraq.
You go 2003. Wow.
That was Operation Iraq.
You weren't that young.
No, I was in my 50s, and they always told us, "Oh, you old timers will keep you stateside," but they didn't know. They sent us anyway. So when I was sent 30 of us Americans with 6 Brits and 2 Australians. We were embedded with an Iraqi battalion in Kirkush. And they were infantry. I was infantry, so we were embedded with them. And that was 317 days I was in Iraq.
So how was it?
Well, Iraq, it's a complete different culture. I mean, the weather is hot. It was 120 degrees in July and August. You could fry an egg.
Holy fuck.
You could fry an egg on a Humvees, on our vehicles.
Damn.
I mean, the only thing about our enemies was they would shoot at us behind women and children and mosques, and we had rules of engagement. They didn't.
Freaking cowards.
That's what it is. So, they knew our firepower would kick their ass, but that's the only frustrating part, that, we couldn't shoot back at certain times legally. If you did, you're taking a chance, because that was filmed half the time, too. Combat film, imagine that?
Yeah.
And the funniest thing was, which only the U.S. troops were not permitted to drink alcohol in combat because we didn't want to insult the Muslim faith. All our allies had booze, the British, they had their scotch, and they used to laugh at us, and we still got, but legally we're not permitted. So what happened is we share with our allies, and your family would send you packages if it got through, but it was searched sometimes, for alcohol. Imagine that. You can't go to combat, you can't have a drink, a beer.
Have a drink. Not only that, you're getting into like some Orban guerrilla fucking warfare.
Well, that's it. With our allies, you're going to clear a house, right? In infantry, you have 4-man teams, and the first thing we're going to clear a house, and what happens is our allies are saying, like the Iranians saying, why don't we just blow the house up? The problem is your relatives have women and children there. We can't do that. Other countries would. The Russians would. The Russians wouldn't care.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
No. So that we had to clear a house, and 4-man teams. The first guy is always the one who's going to get shot, but we lucked out. I lost 5 guys I was with, though. We got killed in action. Well, one was an accident, but
Yeah.
But that's like I say, all the 70s, the 80s. I never saw. I was just a reserve. Then I got put there. It was an experience. Completely different culture.
How about the protocol in combat with the language and all that stuff?
Well, the language. It's funny because we used to mess with them. Every time he sat down with an Arab meeting, it was Salim Alaikum. So we used to say, "Suck my salami, suck my salami," to bust their balls. And then the first 2 words you learned was "Agaf Tarami," where I was at the Farasi Arabic. I tried to learn it was there; it was too hard. But Agaf Tarami means stop. Drop the weapon, but we should say with Agaf, fuck off, they're stopping, So we had some fun with that, and we used to, every time you have enemies, you have a name for them, like in like in the Vietnam War, they call the Vietnamese gooks, they call them that kind of stuff, in the Second World War we called them Japs, they call the Germans Heinies, Nazis, so we used to call the Arabs Hajis.
Hajis.
But see, to them it was a compliment because we were being sarcastic. If you're a Muslim, if I understand, every Muslim should make one in his lifetime go to Mecca and
go to Mecca. Yeah,
that's the Hajj. So they thought we were kind of
Haji,
we were being sarcastic. We call them Hajis. That was our nickname for them.
Who was it that U.S. troops called Tango?
See what?
The Tangos. Who were they? Like
the Tangos?
Tango down. Or 2 tangos in the rooftop, for example.
I don't know how they call, like you calling call like eagle or something like that.
We used to call them, Victor Idiots, village idiots. That was our term for him. When we had a problem, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, when we had a problem, we had interpreters with us. They started talking to them first. But like I say, what they would do is they shoot at us sometimes. We used to we go through a village, and some were very friendly, you know, and the hostile ones, they're yelling at us. We used to have in our vehicles paint guns, machine guns. So we started shooting at them. They thought we were shooting live rounds. We shoot them with paint. But we had certain terms for combat purposes.
Yeah.
What we say to them is amongst ourselves. Well, in an infantry unit, we didn't have certain terms. You follow procedure. You know, a diamond formation, you had hand signals you used to do, more so.
Oh.
So you didn't have to talk that much unless you start shooting. Then everybody's yelling and screaming. It doesn't matter. It gets very heated.
So, and the only reason you're here in a podcast in Dominican Republic, it's because you married a Latina.
Yes, I did.
How is that going for you?
Oh, wonderful. You know, well, I was married prior to that for 30 years, and my new wife, which is Julio's aunt, we were both divorced, and our kids are raised, so it worked out well for us. We met together. It was nice.
Yeah.
You're right. How did I meet a Dominican? You know, it was through a dating service. Believe it or not, we tried it, and we hit it off.
That's nice.
No, it's really nice. She's wonderful. I love your culture here.
Yeah, dealing with Dominican woman, you never know what you get.
You never know what you're getting.
I looked out then. Right? Yeah, I looked out. No, she's good.
Thank God it worked out for you.
Oh, definitely. Well, we both said to each other, our kids are grown. That's a good thing too, you know.
Yep.
She has 2 girls. I have a son and a daughter. So we met. We all got along, which is nice. But I did find out one thing though. You people have huge families.
Oh my God. Because everybody's your cousin, even though if they're not.
Right. You know, that I found out though. You know, everybody's a cousin.
That's my cousin. No, that's not your cousin. That's your next door neighbor for your life. Then he's family.
That's like family. Yeah. That's what I found out here too. It's nice though.
Sometimes
we're like Italians in that sense.
yeah.
Like New Jersey Italians.
Yeah,
not the OG Italians.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So that's a Catholic stuff. That's a Catholic stuff.
That's true. That's a Catholic.
We have Godfather and all that stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But in the Dominican Republic, you got your godfather and you never seen him.
Yeah.
You never see
It
it.
happens.
Yeah, it happens like he puts you to water and that's it. Boom. I'm gone.
Yeah. But we have a great.
What I told you sometimes in dinners and social stuff is like, don't try to learn the family tree because
don't.
It's just you try. You
gotta get nuts. I was trying to explain how are we related.
I asked you,
even in a table of 7 people.
Yep.
Explain you how we are related. It's a pain in the ass.
It's convoluted. Completely, yeah, it's tough. But no, Iraq was was an experience. I didn't want to go, but I had no choice. I don't regret it in a sense because you do things and see things you never see otherwise. You know, the culture there is completely different, and for us to be there to try to change the culture is not good. I don't think. And we didn't. Even combat, it wasn't that bad, thank God, because it wasn't like the Vietnam War or it was always moments of a lot of boredom, and every now and then you got in a firefight. That's when it got exciting.
Yeah.
Where
So you had like teammates that were longing for a fight, for a gunfight.
No, most of the guys weren't because again, you don't want to. No, not really. I wasn't special forces. Those guys were out there doing it. I was strictly a straight line infantry unit. And I was with, like I say, 6 British soldiers. We were a team with Iraqi battalion going with them, and they put us in it wasn't that bad of a sector, thank God. Kirkush, not Kirkuk. Kirkuk was worse. I had friends there. I had a friend who in my unit that died. They got shot in the neck, but so I was lucky that way in that regard. It wasn't we weren't looking for because you're gonna kill somebody. Although I killed a couple Arabs, you don't feel good about it afterwards.
Yeah, I feel you.
And really, you're very. What happens is like a basic combat load for infantry is you have M6. We had M16s, so better weapons now. I'm going back to 03.
And you were trained. They were not. They were just civilians with guns.
Correct. Or they're fanatical.
Totally.
They lose 3 or 4 people. We could kill 1,000 Arabs, and they got 1 American. We're winning. And they believe that if they kill themselves for Allah, I can't. And they'll put the woman and children in front of them and shoot at you.
That's crazy.
And that's what really aggravates. Same thing.
Anyway,
you start asking yourself questions, and
yeah,
of course,
you go down a rabbit hole.
Well, the thing is, you know, one friend of mine got killed. Now, what we do there, of course, his body with his personal stuff's going home. But there we have a ceremony where we take his boots, his M16 helmet, and you know, you're standing there, and you that morning you had breakfast with him, and then he's dead. And you know what I said to myself? Thank God it's not me.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Totally.
I felt bad.
That is true. That is
you know,
so true.
I looked at it and I knew the guy because he was actually a reserve too, a fireman from Buffalo, New York. He had 3 kids. I felt bad for the guy. Hell of a nice guy. Now he's dead. You know.
Yeah, but you saw the silver lining in it.
Oh yeah.
And you always have the option to see it, you know?
That's true. And I came back in one piece. That's what counts.
That's true.
That's what counts.
Yeah.
And Bob, thank you for being here.
It was my honor. Pleasure.
Thank you for.
You gotta come back.
I would.
You gotta come back.
I could
Back.
definitely more time. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you for being in the first English episode.
Nice. I appreciate that. It was a pleasure to be here.
I really enjoy it, and of course Edward enjoyed it too.
Totally.
Yeah. I hope
You gotta come back.
I hope you guys. I hope you're.
It was a pleasure to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
And
For the first time.
for the
I'll come
first
back.
time. For the first time, of course we will come back. Guys, thank you. See you next week or when I want it. Bye.
Y esto no un poco para todo el mundo.
Esto es un poco para todo el mundo.
See.